If you dare, join me on the Fantasy Basketball Waiver Wire. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I only recently became aware of the existence of a fragrance called Mood Yacht. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and get $20 off your first purchase with the code LOCKEDONNBA, which I should have said at the start of that. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day, and making the Locked On Podcast Network your number one, or the number one, sports podcast network in the entire US. Thank you again to you guys. And also thank you. I didn't realize I hit 90k subs on YouTube. Now we've got Operation 100k. We did modify that to Operation 90k, and we did it. You guys reported to duty. We got there. So 10 to go to get that play button, which is definitely going up on the wall behind me if I get it. 10 to go. So if you haven't subbed, be my sub. Okay, we're talking fantasy basketball waiver wire. Let's go through some little parts and pieces and dissect what's happened and what can happen and how we can judge it. A lot of things, interesting things happened over the weekend. A couple of big returns from injury happened. One of them was De'Aaron Fox. We look at the return of Andrew Nembhard as well. And we got the return of Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. Oops. Jalen Green did return, but not going to be there for a while, is he? Hamstrings, you know. But we'll talk about the impact of those things coming sprinkled throughout the show. The first guy that I do want to talk about here is the number one most added player on Basketball Monster, and it is Philadelphia 76ers new starting forward, I guess, Trendon Watford. Now, you will notice always there's a lot of chasing that happens. Watford's got nice eyes. Watford was ridiculously good. He had his first career triple-double in his first start for the Sixers on Saturday. He's averaging 15, 8, and 6 over the last week, which only has one start. There are a couple of things about it. He is playing really well. And we did talk about him a few days ago in Watford's maybe an option here to stream in. He's got some out-of-position assists, and he's getting these 25 minutes. He's a good player. He brought the ball up a lot in Brooklyn and running that role, and I didn't expect this to happen. But as soon as the elevation came into the starting role, he's an interesting guy to grab. And then, of course, he doubled it up with a big triple-double, right? The problem here is going to be that when Paul George returns, I don't know when, but when, it is going to hurt Watford. But that doesn't preclude them being someone to add. I will also say this, though. Last season, 55.7 true shooting. This season, 72.8. Is there a medium in there somewhere? Yeah, he's probably like a 60% guy, but it's a big drop. So while the counting stats might hold, some of his efficiency stuff is probably not going to be at that level. But I do agree that adding Trendon Watford makes a lot of sense at this time. And we can make adjustments on that when George is back. The second most added player is Noah Clowney. One of the reasons for this is Clowney is going to be at times a frustrating player. His block numbers from his rookie season don't look like they're coming back. He's never going to be an assist guy, but even his rebounds are down. He's playing like a tall Jordan Clarkson, basically, with fewer assists. He's bombing threes. He's got pretty good free throws. But what I like about this, and where we can take chances and have a little bit of grace for somebody, is to add them because the role looks good. He has moved into the starting group. He is playing good minutes. There will be games with foul trouble. I'm sure that'll happen. And at some point, maybe he is out of favor. But for now, Noah Clowney is in favor. He's playing 30 minutes. He is starting. You might get 15 points, 2 threes, 5 rebounds. Is that awesome? No, but it's a good baseline, though. And I added him in a few leagues the start of the week. I think he's fine to do. The next most added player is Zachary Reshape, who has played better. I still don't buy it. Last game, Alexander Walker, Johnson, and Porzingis were all out. And he still didn't, he was fine, but he didn't really elevate. I don't agree with that one as a must roster or must add. The next one's Reed Sheppard. This is one of the ones where you go, if it happens, I'm very excited. If it happens. But it did sort of happen at the expense of Jabari Smith, but like, let's look at what old mate Ime Udoka thinks. Will he go to that as a permanent thing? We might think he should, but it doesn't mean he will. But the value that Reed provides versus, compare and contrast, Zach Ricochet, it means that adding it makes sense just to see if it holds. And the next one is Josh Minott, who's had a couple of big games, fell off, bad games, bad shooting, foul trouble games, and then a couple of good games again. What is important, much like with Clowney, he's on a bad team, and he seems to have locked down a position. And he's producing, for the Celtics especially, like a really key skill set. So if, and Sneaky Joe can do whatever he wants at any point. He's very unpredictable, very sneaky. But at the moment, Minott's role feels like it's secure enough, and then could even get getting a bigger or more robust as the season goes on. That's possible. It's not necessary, but it's possible. On Yahoo, which uses a different sort of time frame for when we're tracking the most ads. It's over the last, I think it's 9 hours or something when I'm looked at it today. And some of these names are just literally definitions of chase. Josh Okogie is on there. Really? I guess there's a schedule element to that with Okogie, and that's, there's always parts of that. And when we're trying to dissect, does stuff make sense from a should you add this guy perspective? There is the long-term idea, there's the intermediate term, and then there's the short-term. Is this a back-to-back type scenario? I don't really get any, like, again, the schedule part, like he plays on Sunday, sure, but he doesn't even have a favorable schedule. He doesn't play until Wednesday when there are 12 games on. That's useless. And like Okogie's had some good games. He has, like, 12 points, 5 steals last game. The game before, 13 points, 2 steals. Don't go back any further. He had 2 points with 2 steals the game before that. But also, to be fair to Okogie, he has scored in double digits in all but 2 of his games this season. That's solid, but never has he gone over 13 points, which is not good. All right, double digits looks good. It's bulky. It's got a nice shape to it. It's curvy. But does it mean anything? Like if you're getting 10 points when a league average is 17.5, 18? Yeah, I agree, Obe. I agree. Like it's not a good number. I guess it's chasing the steals, but not ideal. But if it's just for Sunday, fine. What about the absolute serendipity that we get to talk about the pencil, Harrison Barnes? Barnesy. Because Harrison Barnes has played well. He has had some good games. But we all know what we're all adults here, right? We all understand what we're here for. And that's to avoid Harrison Barnes. Chasing a Harrison Barnes game is just, and to be fair, he has also scored in double digits in 6 straight games with multiple threes in every one of those games. That's all true. He also had 15 points with 2 rebounds and then the full Ryan Anderson, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. The game before, really good. He actually got defensive stats. He actually did 1 game this year where he blocked 2 shots. Bro can go a whole season and block 2 shots. Let's see, what's your guess? How many blocks total did Harrison Barnes have last season? Let's go and have a look. Wow. 14. The season before, 12. The season before, 10. For a season as a 6'9" power forward, bro. But he's had 2 this year. Barnes, it's like, no. Just no. Like, no. Absolutely not. Royce O'Neal, the next most added player. He's an interesting one because Dylan Brooks returned, Jalen Green returned, and then Jalen Green picked his hammy. I would expect that this is at least a month for Green. I would be not shocked if it's Christmas, honestly, because that looked bad and it's a recurrent injury. That's a long time out, right? So our streams were, let's look at Grayson Allen, hold him. Royce O'Neal's doing well, hold him. Dylan Brooks was fine, but you probably do want to have him. And the other one's Collin Gillespie, who probably thrived more when both Green and Brooks are out, but I would hold for now. So O'Neal being added makes sense. Sam Hauser. What? I get, again, this is just likely we're streaming in for Sunday, but Hauser's is the best option out there? No, absolutely not. And the last one is one to really talk about. That is the definition of a chase, and that is Mohamed Waiver. Gare was awesome on Saturday. 21 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Over his previous 2 games, he had combined in 2 games, 7 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist. Right, that's yuck. there were very clear circumstances as to why Gay went off on Saturday. Kristaps Porzingis out back-to-back. Jalen Johnson out back-to-back. Real injury? Not sure. I'm sure there's a real injury portion to it, but was it back-to-back? Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Back-to-back. Trae Young, obviously out. But look at all of the things that needed to happen to get us this level of Gay production. He's also shooting unbelievably. He had horrible shooting numbers from 3 last season, but he's on a hot streak so far the entirety of this year. He was like 25% from 3 last season, and he's hitting everything. So that one, to me, it's just a massive, you have just chased a gigantic game. You have done box score looking with no context. And go, wow. Or maybe you're just like, this is maybe the only way I can get some Gay in my life, and I'll just do it. But it makes no sense. Unless something comes out that Jalen Johnson and Kristaps Porzingis are just going to miss the rest of the week, I don't know why you would do it. I do not understand that one at all. Today's episode, it is brought to you by Robin Hood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robin Hood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, and beating it again. You can channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trading stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that is robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. With the NBA season kicking into full gear, you're going to get to games. You're going to get to want to see your favorite teams in action, your favorite players, your fantasy players, whatever it is. You're going to want to feel the excitement live. But getting tickets has been a painful process, and that is now where Game Time comes in, the ultimate hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, and Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, let's take a look at some more waiver wire situations that deserve our attention. We're going to go to some of the most dropped players, and we can. This is the section that I know a lot of you enjoy, where we can talk blanket jacks.
Get that garbage out of here!
Who are we dropping? Is it all of these guys? Well, the most dropped player is D'Angelo Russell, and yes, D'Angelo Russell has moved back into the starting lineup, and he's barely playing 20 minutes. He's being outplayed by old mate Brandon Williams. So, D'Angelo Russell, shout out to the Carolina Panthers. D'Angelo Russell's one of those players over the last couple of years where I just can't seem to get them right. Like, maybe there's an opportunity here for him. I think he's bad, there's an opportunity. And then he's bad, and I go, okay, drop him. And then he goes hot again. And that has just been a pattern, right? I was very much out on D'Lo in preseason, in draft season, not interested. That looked great. And then he had a couple of big games, and the minutes went up, and I'm like, okay, am I wrong here again? And then he was bad again. Then he elevated to the starting line. I go, okay, is he going to do something? And then he didn't again. So at the moment, I, from a personal, my team level, I just don't care. I will not take any plunge on D'Angelo Russell. I think he's bad. I think the overall idea of him is not good at the moment. And there will be hot streaks, and I'm sure I'll wear them, but I just don't care. So dropping him makes sense. Derek Jones makes sense as a drop. Why? The Clippers had a great run. They had a really awesome week, and it's over. So, bye-bye. Isaiah Stewart was a good ad in the situation where Tobias Harris was out, but now Bro's also out. So, I don't think that Isaiah Stewart, outside of the usual hold in IL, I don't think that he is worth a spot to hold, to wait, to see if he just goes back to being a backup center. Collin Gillespie is one of the most dropped players, which I guess is after the Suns' run of games. But also, if you're dropping him after Saturday's game, surely you saw that Jalen Green got hurt. You saw that. So, no, don't drop Collin Gillespie. Ryan Dunn, bit of a different story. The return of Brooks, he's on the bench, his minutes are down. He had real value in that week because of the schedule, but as a longer term play, not really that interesting. He's okay to move on from. If we go to Yahoo and look at the most dropped players, which the ones that don't dial up, interestingly, the most dropped player over there is also Harrison Barnes. So, what? I don't know what's going on there. Bogdan Bogdanovic. He had some decent minute games, but the Clippers' little run is over, so you move on. Sam Merrill, one of the most dropped players as well. I didn't know people were still holding Sam Merrill, but apparently they are. That does make sense. He is a streamer for threes. Royce O'Neal, one of the most dropped players. That is wrong. Don't do that. I would go back and re-add him. And then Chris Middleton, which is a very easy drop across most scenarios. One of the names that wasn't there, which I thought was interesting, is Walker Kessler. He was the next name on the list. Okay, really? People are still dropping Walker Kessler now? And I thought, okay, maybe people have got waivers that run once a week and it's happening on Sunday. It still, will happen Saturday or whatever it is. I looked at his roster percentage. He is 63% rostered, Walker Kessler, on Yahoo. Now, 63% of leagues on Yahoo aren't dynasty leagues. I know that much. That gives us a terrifying look at how many leagues are inactive. Absolutely terrifying. We will monitor this over the next 3 to 4 days, but this is one of those ones that's a very good indicator to suggest how many leagues have a level of inactivity in them. Because he is not playing this season. We'll generously say 5% of leagues are dynasty formats. This guy should be rostered then in 5% of leagues, and anything else is a league that is either completely dead or incredibly inactive. So we watch that one very closely, just because it then influences what we do and talk about and think about in terms of the guys who are available in certain league formats and all that sort of stuff. I don't have anyone in the must roster section where I look at the next few weeks and see that someone's just egregiously under rostered. There's no one that actually pops up for me like that as a top 100 guy, so I'm leaving that alone. There are guys that I think you should be grabbing, like Watford's a grab, and grabbing a Yusuf Nurkic and those sort of things. But they're advanced roster numbers, which again are more reliable than the Yahoo ones, which I need to also check on that because we're about 30% advanced roster on Walker Kessler, so I want to give that weekly waiver time to process to see where that number comes out at. But most of those guys are all above the number that I use as a cutoff to suggest whether they should be must rosters. Instead, we're just going to go to a list of guys that can be droppable. Now, what do we mean by droppable? Do you have to drop them? No. Do you have to do it right now or tomorrow? No. But when you're making hard decisions on your team and if you understand that it's going to cause you maybe a short-term loss, but it's the right long-term move, that's where we sit. And one of those is AJ Mitchell because he's been very good this season. He's been very good. But we do see some of the writing on the wall. Players return and his role pushes back. Now, at the moment, Lou Dort is out. Right, but Dort and then the Bronco could just both come back and AJ plays 20 minutes off the bench. All right, Isaiah Joe's already back and there is an impact there. So while AJ has been very good and we love what he's done, and you do not have to drop him, if you have to make a tough decision, like he's your worst or second worst player and you're activating, let's say, De'Aaron Fox off your injured list, then it would hurt to drop him, but do it. Dan Gafford, I think is droppable. He is limited by the ankle injury. He was not very good. His minutes are low. And Anthony Davis is going to return very soon. And Gafford's going to be a backup, I'm guessing. And then you're going to still have Dereck Lively at some point joining into that fray. Again, it is okay. If you want to just hold Gafford and see when Davis is back and see what Lively is, that's okay too. But again, if he's on my roster, he's probably some level of dead weight. Just copy and paste the same thing for Trey Jones. He's okay. He's fine. But when Kobe White is back, Jones will not maintain the level, I don't think. But he probably can, at least close enough to it, before White is back. So ideally, you hold it and you ride it out. But if you do need the space, if you do need to make a longer-term play, that's one. I just don't see it with Anthony Simons. I didn't see it in draft season. I don't see it now. It's way worse than I anticipated. He got benched by, I feel like 2 minutes. He played like 2 minutes and got benched in the game the other day. He's a scoring-only guy who's not getting enough minutes to get enough volume there. No, don't hold him. And then Jake LaRavia. When LeBron is back, probably a couple of weeks, LaRavia's value is going to be down. Austin Reeves is probably coming back as well. And LaRavia's a good player. It's one of those ones where, again, we'd all love to be able to say, just stash him, you never know. That's true, but how big's your bench, man? What are you rocking down there? Like it can't be that big that we're just holding every sort of worst, just in case type player, and that's why some of these drop labels or droppable labels could seem harsh, but we can't just sit on all of them and be like, no, you just got to hold, just wait and see, because sometimes you don't have that luxury in a daily changes scenario. Remember, a daily changes scenario, you have no bench. Your whole bench is active all the time. And dead weight waiting on players type scenarios if it just carries on for too long, you are so far behind the 8 ball. We'll come back and talk about a few more things in terms of waiver wire players. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And with NBA games, and with FanDuel in particular, when you're watching them, you might miss the start, but you can still get in and bet on that game because there's live in-game betting, which you can do like for who will score next, or you can place your eyes on the score, and is there going to be a comeback happening? Is the lead going to be extended? You can do all that. Plus, you can get those live bets, and you can combine them into a live same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers also $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, we are talking waiver wire. We're going to go through a few more segments here, including at the moment the hot players, the guys who have the eyes like Trendon Watford, the players who are flying at the moment, and we talk about sustainability levels of some of these guys. The top one of these players that is available still in a lot of spots is Moses Moody. We talked about Moses Moody having 2 really good games and how I said don't chase him after the first game, and then he was even better the second game. That's a huge L by me. But then he scored 2 points in the next one because he still remains Moses Moody, and the opportunities were given by multiple players being out, plus him shooting 60% from 3. He's the 37th ranked player over the last week. That's an amazing performance from Moses Moody. But when we're thinking realities of scenarios, where or how do you find a role large enough to justify him as a rosterable guy? You don't. You might be able to find a justifiable role for Jalen Tyson, who's someone at the start of the season, and even last season, I like this guy. There are interesting things about him. I thought he'd be drafted to be a long-term Karis LeVert replacement for this team, and then they traded LeVert for Hunter, which complicated that rotation. And then I thought in the preseason he was going to be the starter, but he didn't. It was Sam Merrill. But then he has moved back to being a starter. He started 7 games. And in those starts, he's averaging 1.4 steals and 1.1 blocks as a guard. He also, in the game that Darius Garland returned, played 23 minutes. That's a good sign. Now, Max Strus is still out, but Max Strus is a long way away. He's only been under 20 minutes of action once, Jalen Tyson. And over the last week, he's a top 70 player. Is he, though, someone that we have to look at as a guy to roster in 12-team leagues? It's tough because obviously a top 60 or top 70 player is very good. The steals and blocks are very good. He gets rebounds, assists, he hits threes. But as a bench player living my best life, you get those stupid bloody Twitter replies. As a millionaire living my best life, I'm giving 55,000 people to someone who signs up to Bit Crypto Ape FTs. All right, mate. Sure, that's real. Anyway, Jalen Tyson, is he a guy that we consider a must? It's very borderline. If he was rostered in more spots, he'd probably appear on my droppable list where I go, it's all well and good, man. It's great, but I'm not sure we need to hold it. But he's playing well. I like him as a player. If he was a 30-minute night player, I'd be frothing top 70 on him easily. He's got a better, he's a Josh Minott type of player, but better. We just don't have the solidness of the role. What about another Golden State Warrior player, old Will Richard, who'd been out of the rotation, popped up, scored 30 in a game with no Steph and with no Jim, and he's just going to fade back towards the peripheries of the rotation. It just shows 2 games gets you the 88th rank. That's awesome. It's very hard for us to care about that long term, as good as he's been. Aaron Wiggins, the 92nd ranked player over the last week. He's also out today. We just use him when Chet is out. At this point, it's as simple as that. And that probably won't even be the case when Jalen Williams returns. And then at number 94, it's Mr. Black, who's had a really strong week. Especially while Jalen Suggs is limited and while Jalen Suggs is sitting out. I actually, again, and I am a large Anthony Black hater, right? I am. But I've got him on 2 of my rosters. I've got him on like a standard 12-man roster. In industry pickup, he's on my team still, I believe. And because he's just doing enough little things. So, is he ever going to be a top 50 guy? I don't think so. But can he maintain a top 110 run? I think there's a real possibility of that. Lastly, I've got some other names that I want to talk about. Hopefully, there's no double ups here. No, there's not. Me. Let's talk about the big fella, literal big fella, t-shirt connoisseur, the Blizzard, Derik Queen in New Orleans. Number one, Derik, get rid of the t-shirt. Looks dumb. Shouldn't be wearing them. It should be illegal. Again, I think I said this on Twitter. Like, what are you the guy at the pool doesn't want to get his top off? Like, take the t-shirt off, mate. Compression, go ahead. Not what this is. He's been interesting. Last 2 games, 25 minutes in both of them. It is worth noting that Jordan Poole, starter or not, don't know how you want to clarify him, Jordan Poole, Zion Williamson, Yves Missi have been out those games. That's 2.5 starters out. Queen is not starting. Also, he has played the entirety of the fourth quarter the last 3 games. Meaning of those 25 minutes the last 2 games, he had 13 minutes in the first 3 quarters. Which is weird coaching. Because he's like 10, 5.5, and 4.3 over the last 4 games is solid. He's also averaging 1.8 steals, which I don't say I'm not particularly hopeful that that's the level of defense Derik Queen is providing. Like this guy in college in 30 minutes a night averaged 1.1 steals per game. He also is shooting horribly, and that is carrying over from where he was in college. And his assist numbers are way up in the NBA versus what they were in college. But he is considered a strong passer, a really good footwork player. He's got flashy moves, all that sort of stuff. But while we've got all that stuff there for Queen, is he absolutely a must? I think because there is the upside with him, right? Because there is the what if they play him these minutes, that we could get interested in it. But we've also said that there is a clear hesitance to play him until the fourth quarter for whatever reason. And if Zion and Missi are both there, what's he going to do? Now, they're out. So, roster Derik Queen, that's okay. But I'm still finding it quite challenging to look at his long-term production without an injury and him forcing 30 minutes a night and being a top 100 guy. It can happen, but I'm still struggling. Egor Demin is another name that's worth mentioning because he's starting now for the Nets with Cam Thomas out, and he had really good assists. The problem is he sucks at everything else. He's bad at everything. He can't shoot threes. He can't shoot twos. He doesn't shoot twos. He doesn't shoot free throws. He doesn't really rebound. There's no real defensive stats. There's no scoring. There's no usage. He gets assists at the moment. And even that, I'm a little concerned about how often that's going to be the case. And he still doesn't get big minutes. So there is a scramble. I talked about this on the streaming show yesterday. There's always a scramble for a point guard because assists are very hard to get off the waiver wire. So I get it. And if you want to have him, I understand it. It makes complete sense. But the production is just... It's just one of those things at the moment where I don't know how it's getting high enough. Outside of the one category, which then can lead you to have detriments in other areas. His rookie teammate is Drake Powell. And he's worth a discussion just because this is what his game log had been. 7 minutes, then 0, 0, 0, 0, 4, 0, 0, 27. All right, that's eye-opening. That's after Cam Thomas was injured. With Ben Saraf, Nolan Traore, Denny Wolf all sent down to the G League. It's Demin and Powell. Now, what did he do in those minutes? Absolutely nothing. 6, 4, and 2. No threes, no steals, no blocks. Took 7 shots, didn't attempt a free throw, missed all 3 of his threes. It's all terrible. But I wanted to bring him up because you'll see a rookie on a bad team playing 27 minutes and go, should I be interested? And to me, the answer is no, absolutely not. Trey Mann had a pretty good game last time out, but it needed Collin Sexton and LaMelo Ball to both be out. I don't know if both of those guys... Oh, and Brandon Miller, of course. I don't know if they're going to be out. Is Trey Mann an okay short-term stream? Yeah, but as a long-term guy, don't think it's there. And then another great stream. Like if you're streaming in Egor Demin to get assists, why don't you just cast your eyes a little bit to Atlanta if you want to go deep double onyx here? Kayson's brother, the last player out of Sydney himself, Keaton Wallace, is worth a look. He gets assists. He's a pretty good steals guy. He doesn't do anything else usually. Last game, it was helpful that Alexander Walker was also out, but Trey is going to be out, and Wallace is going to be in the rotation. And you might get 4 assists, 5 assists, 1.5 steals out of him in 20 minutes. And that's useful for you double Onyxers out there. That's a waiver wire show. We'll be back with a preview of Monday's action and then a recap of Sunday's games as well. People are still asking the questions, hey, where's the recaps from Friday and Saturday? I don't do them, right? I gave a couple to start the season. I will do them sometimes, but in general, that is time where I am off my work. I'm still writing stuff on Basketball Monster and recapping the games that way, but I can't give a recap show 7 days a week for 25 weeks. I can't do it. It won't be happening. So that's why there's none of those on the weekends. Yes? So that's where they are. In this one, I just want you to thumb and double bang, and let's get to that 100,000. Subscribe on YouTube. That would be sick. I do want that play button. Narcissistically, I want to play it, put it up behind me. I want to be the first on the Locked On Network to get one as well, to put it up behind me. So let's get that happening. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.